good morning, and welcome to Career Mastered Inside Career Success, the show that brings you trailblazing women, stories about their careers, their success, their triumphs, and their challenges. Those women who are making impact. And I'm Dr. Lisa Wicker, your host for today's show. Today, I have with me Sara Downing, who is the marketing director at Clancy Theys Construction Company. She will join me in just a moment as I, first of all, share about her background. But first, let me tell you, I'm glad to have you here with us again today. It's been a moment because, as you know, we take 3 months off in the summer. I think we all need a little downtime. And so here we are back ready and excited to go for our fall series. And Sara is going to kick us off about career success and what she's been up to over the summer. But let me tell you about Career Mastered. Career Mastered is a women's global footprint that really is about accelerating today's women in the marketplace, today's global women. And we reach many markets around the world. Particularly, we are interested in ensuring that we provide a platform for women to tell their stories, but also to accelerate their leadership. Our continuum is really about grades 5th through 12th for girls. And then we work with college campuses for young women that are looking to have models and methods and frameworks for navigating corporate hallways when it's their turn or becoming an entrepreneur. And then we truly support, lift, and celebrate women leaders in the marketplace. And so that's where we are. And we can't do that without men allies. We have champions, men that support what we do, lift up all of the classes and seminars and webinars that we present. But they too are awarded with what we call Men as Allies Awards. Today, where we are with Career Mastered is going into our 12th year. And so we are thrilled that we've been able to kind of weather the storm. That's all a part of entrepreneurship. We're working on our winter edition of the Career Mastered magazine, but our fall edition is out, and it is all about our top entrepreneur women to watch. I got to tell you, this season was amazing, triple A's, because we have over 35 powerful women that were recognized for outstanding work that they're doing as entrepreneurs. As you know, it is the fastest growing population in terms of entrepreneurship. Women are at the forefront. And Lauren Fitzpatrick Shanks is at the center of our magazine. She graces the cover for this fall. Why? She was selected based upon what she has been able to accomplish in a few short years. I believe it's since 2018. She's secured investors. She has a SaaS platform. She is absolutely doing an amazing job with her entrepreneurship, as having been the first graduate from Kansas State University, I believe, in aerospace engineering. So she's no joke. She's got it together, but she has made a choice to become an entrepreneur, and she's doing a marvelous job. And then I must tell you that we are on our way to Las Vegas. Let me say that again. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. Well, I got to tell you, we are headed to Las Vegas for Career Master Brunch with the Masters. I can't be thrilled enough to tell you that we're growing in this space called Brunch with the Masters. It's been around, actually, when we first started in 2015, we had our first Brunch with the Masters. And what we did during the pivot time of last year, when we needed to make some adjustment, we just pulled it forward and we started to host those in cities like Charlotte, Detroit, and now Las Vegas, and one to come in California. So if you are a woman who is really about the business of making connections, ensuring that you leverage your leadership and help others advance, and you want to be an ambassador for the Brunch with the Masters, just email us at info@careermaster.com and let us know what city you're in and whether or not you want to receive the information on how to become an ambassador. Elissa Mahindra in Las Vegas is our host, and we have a wonderful panel of women that are going to be discussing what impacts they're making, not only in Las Vegas, but globally in the marketplace. And now let us go to the topic at hand, which is none other than Sara Downing. And I am going to bring her forward so that I can introduce her. Good morning, Sara.
Good morning, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. I know it's now time to get back for all of us, our minds and our heads and directionally on work, being that we played a little bit for summer. So let me introduce you if I can. Sara has built a career at the intersection of marketing, communications, and relationship building within one of the country's most respected construction firms. Her story is filled with lessons on perseverance, creativity, and the power of making meaningful connections. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about her because she's so much more than just those few sentences. But I'm going to officially introduce her. She is a detail oriented, results driven professional who has been cultivating relationships in Southeast since 2003. Sara has been a member of the Society of Marketing Professional Services since that time, achieved her fellowship in 2022, and earned her CPSM in 2009. Now, you're going to have to tell us what that is. And has served on the Charlotte board in numerous roles, including president of SMPS. In addition, Sara is on the board of Construction Professionals Network, which is CPN, and the past chair of ULI Next committee. I could go on, but I'm going to tell you quickly that she is a graduate of Leadership Charlotte, class of 42. And in 2020, she was named one of the most 50 influential women in Mecklenburg County by the Mecklenburg Times. I'm one of those too. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to you.
2025, a National Career Master Leadership and Action Award honoree by Career Master magazine. She has a Bachelor's of Arts in Communications and is currently pursuing a master's in business administration. I think this is right, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Welcome. And I think you're a member of crew. So with that, welcome, Sara. I'm so glad to have you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, and we can update that bio just a little bit.
Okay.
I officially graduate in a couple weeks with my MBA from Chapel Hill.
Awesome. Congratulations. I
Yeah.
know the amount of work that takes. So we need to just be right on target with it that she is soon to be a graduate of that university. So congratulations, Sara.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, I have a lot of time back in my life.
Oh, believe me, I know. I often tell people about the fact of my earning these degrees. It's no joke. It's work. And when you earn it, you know you've earned it. Right?
Yeah, it's been a great experience. But it is nice not to have to worry about writing papers and doing group assignments.
I know. Well, let's start at the beginning. What drew you to the field of marketing and communications? How did you first get started?
Yeah, so as you had mentioned, I graduated with a degree in communications, and that's a very broad, broad degree. I was really interested in the public relations side, um, but a lot of those jobs are in New York and California, and bigger cities, and I really didn't want to leave the Carolinas, and so I fell into this design and construction industry. I pivoted to finding a marketing role with a landscape architecture and civil engineering firm. Um, and it was at that time that I really fell in love with the built environment. I didn't know a lot about it, um, but I was there for 7 years and really enjoyed the work, asked a lot of questions. And so that really launched my career, to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And so it's really a good thing to experience maybe environments that we haven't been. So look at you, you had no idea that this was going to shape you, but you've had some exciting chapters in your life already. So what key experiences do you think shaped you into the leader that you are today?
Yeah, I think for me, I really encourage everyone to continue to be curious. I feel like entering a an industry that I didn't know a whole lot about,
Mm-hmm.
I early on decided I wasn't scared to ask questions.
Good.
I would have project managers roll out a set of plans, and I would, go through and say, explain it to me. And so I think having that mindset throughout your career, no matter what level you are, but especially when you're new in an industry or new in a role or even new in a company, is just being curious and not being afraid to ask to ask those simple questions, to gain better understanding.
I agree. I totally agree. And so, what is your role right now as a marketing director involved? What excites you most about the work that you do? And tell us again the name of the company that you are a part of.
Yeah, so I'm with Clancy Theys Construction Company. We're based in Raleigh, North Carolina, but have offices throughout the Southeast. So my role is really leading our marketing and communications team, both internally and external communications and marketing. And so I have a team of 8 that work with me. And for us, it's about proposals and supporting our business development team. It's internal work with messaging and newsletters and what our internal employees and departments are looking for. So it is very busy. We are a mighty team that kind of gets a lot done at the end of the year. When we look at all of the things that we've accomplished and worked on within the company, we're always amazed, because so often the team's work goes you know unrecognized, unnoticed, just because we are the support
Right.
to our larger company.
So, continuing in that vein around accomplishments and successes, if you thought over the last 24 months about your job and how you contribute to the team as a whole, what stands out as a moment that you could feel good about the achievement of your team? Maybe I'm asking, a little bit more than I, you think I should, but if you can answer, I think that would be great, because sometimes as leaders, we often don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do. And we're busy telling others how well they do, but you don't stop to think about what you've accomplished. So tell me.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of our marketing team. 2 years ago, we were not set up operationally the way that we are currently.
Yeah.
We were, siloed in our different divisions. Um, and I wasn't doing marketing at the time. I was doing business development, and so kind of going back to my roots, I raised my hand and said, I think there's a better way for us to do marketing within the organization. And I'll say our president and executive team, took kind of my proposal and said, we agree with you, we believe in you. And so we then transformed into what now is the corporate marketing team, where all of these silos were broken down into one collaborative group. And so I'm very proud of, my efforts to see a problem and work through that. I'm very proud of, the team of marketing professionals that were in the organization and really saw the vision and know what it is that we can be. And they're there supporting the vision every single day.
Mhm.
And like I said, we're doing great work. We are excited about 2026, when a lot of the details of kind of the reorganization that we've done
Mhm.
are ironed out, and we really get to focus in doing some fun work and impactful work for Clancy Theys.
So tell me, also, if you can just think through how you went from, learning about construction to having an experience at a firm, not really knowing that's where you would end up, to your current, leadership role as heading up marketing. What leadership skills do you think people need for trying to do some of the same things you've done in your path?
You know, communication, communication, communication. I feel like, so many issues, so many things are stem from lack of communication or lack of clear communication. So for me, communicating and having a strong vision and being able to articulate that. Um, and yeah, I didn't have a background in construction, and so it goes back to being willing to ask questions, um, and being curious about how things work. I love putting on, work boots and a hard hat and going out and walking around our project sites and asking questions. And it's really fun to see how buildings come together to transform communities. And so um, that's really a passion of mine, and I enjoy doing that. But I think from the leadership standpoint, being curious, communicating, and being self-confident, not in kind of an arrogant way, but knowing and kind of pushing yourself, right? We all have that voice inside of us that says like, oh, you're not good enough, so and so's smarter or better. And so really squishing that inner voice that you have, and and moving forward.
That's great. That's great. So your thoughts on how you've been able to excel, and everybody's different, but I think these are things that most of us are taught not only in college but in through our experiences, is that communications is key. If you're not communicating, then it's probably going to be harder for you in relationship building.
Right.
And then you also mentioned that being curious, asking questions, and also having a strong vision of what you are looking for, but also making sure that you can walk in with a confidence that certainly shows the others that you believe in yourself. That's what I got.
Right. Yeah, and I think, for the communication piece too, it's not just relaying a message, right? So a text message technically is communicating,
Yeah.
but there's sometimes that it needs to be an in-person meeting. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to be so much more than, well, I sent them an email. Now we're in this email conversation, and you're not able to see the body language and hear the voice inflections and all of that. And so I feel like we're missing a lot of the newer generations are missing that ability to have face-to-face conversations, because they love, text messaging and email.
I totally agree, because I often say to people, and I've had this conversation even with businesses that, I've purchased things from, and they say, "Well, I sent you an email," and I'm like, "Well, you can't assume I got your email.
Mhm.
Don't make an assumption that just because you sent an email that has happened. Did you confirm receipt of that email?
Right.
Pick up the telephone and just say, "Hey, I sent this, and can we talk about it?" But I totally agree with you that in person has really gotten kind of pushed to the back burner, and people are just dependent on digital for everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So the good old, "Hey, how you doing?" and looking somebody in the eye sometimes still works.
That's right. I love it when people call me, right? Because it is so unexpected. And I feel like I'm always at my computer responding to emails. So if you call me, I'm very quick to
Yeah.
answer the phone so we can have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Vivian, thank you for agreeing. I see Vivian Delgado Johnson is on for a minute here, but yeah, I think you get so much more out of the relationship when you can just personally see each other. Even Zoom, as much as people don't like it, it's still better than text because you see the person's face, and
Right.
like you say, you can kind of get a sense of who they are quicker, especially if it's a first introduction meeting. I mean, I tell people, they just a quick, hey, how are you? So I know who I'm talking with, right?
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely.
so I see that your achievements and your triumphs have been through, intentional ways in which you use your leadership skills, but not not one of us, and I don't care who you are, you can be the wealthiest man in the world, or you can be the next CEO of a great company. No career journey is without challenges. And so, can you share like one of the toughest professional challenges perhaps that you faced and how you overcame it, using your leadership skills?
Yeah, so I was with a large contractor, and they began to consolidate some of their regions, and so marketing was no longer going to be housed in each region, and so there was an opportunity to relocate or to be downsized, and so I was downsized, and I know that's a lot of people on LinkedIn I see, have lost jobs, and so I've been there. Um, it's not always a fun time. And then I quickly was able to join a small local construction company. I was there for about 8 months, and then they hit some project snags and some financial troubles, and so they had to close their doors. And really, for me, I took both of those experiences kind of personally. Um, I started to examine, what did I do something wrong? Is this the career for me? Is this the industry for me? Like, it was just a lot to have experienced in a short amount of time. And I allowed myself to wallow in it for a hot minute.
I mean, we're all human, so we get there, right? Yeah.
You need to have your sweatpants and Netflix day or week, whatever, whatever you need.
Yeah.
So I allowed myself some wallow time. And then it was putting those networking skills to use. I mean, I've built a really great network of very smart, accomplished, connected folks. And so, it was putting my pride to the side and sending emails and making phone calls and sending text messages and saying like, I'm looking for my next thing. Um, and it worked for me, right? Like, the network really comes together and supports you, even if somebody didn't have a potential job lead for me.
Right.
They still might have said, you know what, let's go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Let me support you. I got your back kind
Yeah.
of situation. And so I think, from a leadership standpoint, really using your network, like, we're building these networks, professionally, using them for your current role, but really, knowing that they can transition to a more personal network. A lot of folks went from professional to now are friends.
Yeah.
And that's really important to have.
I agree. I totally agree. And what I'm hearing you say is, you might wallow in the challenges that you have. I think we all do. I mean, when I think about some of the moments where I just like want to just take a fist and punch somebody, those things are all part of growing, and yet understanding how to manage those emotional, I call them valleys, peaks and valleys.
Mhm.
And we're all going to have peaks and valleys. I often say that you cannot see the I think I would say you cannot see the valley from the peak, but you can see the peak from the valley,
Mhm.
right? And so as long as there's an upward way in which you can get out of whatever that is, that challenge, it only makes you stronger and it makes you grow. And so what advice would you have to aspiring leaders who want to break through like barriers or steps in their leadership?
Yeah, I mean, I think know your worth and know your ability. I mean, add value where you are. So one of the ways that I was able to, even whenever I was in an entry level role, it was adding value to the business, understanding the business decisions that the leaders of the organization are making, and speaking in their language. So I think the more that you can show how you're impacting the overall business. It doesn't have to be the financial bottom line, but how how you are thinking about things, shows additional leadership skills.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, even with my team, I encourage them to bring that value. If you're doing research on something, tell us about it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you're digging into a problem that we're having operationally, maybe things aren't exactly as oiled as they should be. Let's map it out. Let's have those conversations. And so I think for those younger individuals, not being afraid, to show your value.
Right. You mentioned networking and using know your network, use your network. Sounds like it's worked for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it's worked for you, and how are you making it work for you? Because people, we often say, your net worth is your net worth, and that you need to network, and some people just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's giving more than you take.
Mm,
So in those times when you have to be, an extreme taker, we all have those times where we may need to be an extreme taker. Your network isn't worn out going, oh gosh, here's Sara again. What does
she
she
comes
need?
or it's somebody like you haven't heard from somebody in 10 years, and here they come.
Right. And they're gonna, and so I think it is, one thing that I've always tried to do is try to be helpful. If I meet somebody and they're new to Charlotte, I sit in Charlotte. If
Yeah.
they're new to Charlotte, it's how can I help you navigate the city? Who do you need to talk to? Who, projects that are happening, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And so I guess I never approach it really as cultivating a network,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? It's more of who am I helping? Who is being helpful? How am I connecting the people that I know to other people that I know? So yeah, I don't think it's ever intentionally going in and saying, "Oh, I got to build my network by 5 people this week," and going that way.
Yeah, I think it comes down to personality.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that are extroverts and there are some people that are introverts. I teach a class on networking, and the bottom line is situational. So you have to put people that are like introverts that may want to know how to network in situations so they know how to get comfortable in those places where they can just be themselves authentically. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And like
Right.
you say, not even think it's networking. It's just having a dialogue and telling your story and owning that story. So you have really done well. And again, congratulations on the outstanding work that you have done, and the awards, Career Master Women's Leadership Award. Congratulations.
Thank
We're
you.
glad to have you in the alumni circle. And tell me before we end our conversations, has mentoring helped you at all?
Oh, absolutely. And I've had mentors, throughout my career for different, career growth. I used a career coach whenever I decided to pursue my MBA. I knew I needed somebody to hold me accountable,
Hmm.
to getting that done. So, I mean, I feel like it is so important to have mentors, both men and women, right? You mentioned the allies
Yeah.
of our men. I think it's very important to have both men and women um, as mentors, as sponsors, um, that you can trust and
Yeah.
have real conversations with that are going to tell you, give you honest feedback. Sometimes it's her, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, oh no, that's not.
The lady that was my mentor ended up becoming my, I call it girl mentor soulmate, because she would give it to me raw, like totally raw things that I did not want to hear. Okay.
Right. Yes.
But I had to hear them because when it came from her, I knew she was telling me the truth. It was like, hey, Lisa, hey, snap, snap, you need to look in the mirror. Okay.
Mhm.
What you complaining about has nothing to do with them. This has to do with you. And I'm like, time out. Didn't I thought I was talking to you about me. Why are you turning this on? Why are you turning this over? This is supposed to be about them. No,
Right.
no, it's about you. So those are the best truth finders, right?
And it's coming from a place of love and care and support for you and your growth.
Yeah.
Those real comments may sting for a minute,
It
but
is. I call it raw. It's really like my skin's open, but it's all good, right? Well, Sara, thank you so much for the powerful journey, opening of your story and sharing it with us today. Your story is such a incredible inspiration. I wish we talked longer. My talks are about 30 minutes or so, but at least we get to have the audience get to know Sara in a way that maybe perhaps they didn't. And so do people stay in touch with you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, put a note in there as to you seeing the podcast. I am very intentional about who I connect with. So
Awesome.
please put a note in there, and I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show today. I look forward to seeing you probably sooner than later, maybe even at our summit that's coming up that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. Again, I appreciate the value of your time. I don't take it for granted. I think your time is a valuable commodity that you just don't give to anybody. And so thank you so much. And I appreciate Crew. And we didn't mention Crew. Can we just get a plug in for Crew? So I met Sara because she was nominated, I believe, by a crew member, Marie McLucas, who is also on our board. And I think your organization, Crew, is such a powerful women's organization. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe how you got connected to that organization? Then we're going to tap out.
Yeah, so Crew is Commercial Real Estate Women, and so it's really an organization supporting women in all the breadth of commercial real estate. They have excellent programming. It's a great networking opportunity, chapters throughout the country and really the world.
Yes.
And so if you're not familiar, look up Crew. I've again grown my network and have some really great friends and colleagues in the organization.
Great network. In fact, I expect to meet some of your crew member in Las Vegas when we're there, and I'm sure I will, because definitely I've now been connected as, maybe I'm not even an honorary, but I'm somehow connected to you. And I love it. So again, Sara, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you later. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye now. Wow, what a wonderful woman, fine lady that is doing a remarkable job with her career. I am so thrilled that I am personally getting to know Sara Downing, and look forward to building further with her as I watch her star continue to rise. Ladies and gentlemen, as you join us today, I hope that you had an opportunity to hear about Sara's story and to know that we are about accelerating and advancing women's leadership, but we certainly engage with champions of all backgrounds, all genders, that really want to help lift and celebrate the progress for women's leadership. I mentioned when I started the show that we have our fall magazine out. It is a top seller. In fact, we are sold out of print. But the good news is you can get digital if you just run over to www.careermaster.com to sign up for a digital subscription. And if today's show inspired you, you can subscribe and make sure you keep up with these stories, because women like Sara, women like Lauren Fitzpatrick Shanks, Vivian Delgado Johnson, who was on today, Bridget Kegler, who was on today, are in those magazines. And we get to tell the most important part of their stories, and so that it can inspire you. We're really excited about heading to Las Vegas, as I mentioned prior to coming on. We're going to be there on October the 16th for Brunch with the Masters. And we're hosted by Ambassador Elissa Mahindra, and we have the speakers that have already agreed to be with us and share the impact that they're making in the marketplace. So we're ecstatic that Brunch with the Masters is expanding across the nation. More importantly, we're ecstatic about the impact that we make within the marketplace to ensure that women connect, women can learn, grow, and develop. Women also are bringing along the next generation of girls. And by the way, did I tell you that our career master support of Excel Village Girls Learning at Macy's this past September in, I think it was Somerset, Detroit, was outstanding. Almost 70 young girls, ages 5th through 12th grade, that we were able to pour into in STEM, finance, arts, and business. Macy's opened their doors, provided the scholarships for the girls to come in and shop for back to school, as well as ensuring that we had the space in their store to have the workshops. We're just really blessed and want to be a blessing to others. That's what this is about. And so we hope that you connect with us on careermaster.com and that you follow us, because we're getting ready to present the nomination process for 2026 Leadership in Action Awards, as well as the plans for the 2026 Leadership Summit for Career Mastered. Again, thank you for joining us. We enjoyed you, Sara, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, where we will have Felice Hightower, who is also a Career Mastered Women's Leadership honoree. She will be with us as I unfold her story. Talk with you soon.